what if the real secret to feeling young, energetic, and mentally sharp after 70 isn't locked away in expensive treatments or complicated routines, but rather sitting quietly on your plate every single day? Most people believe that aging is a slow and inevitable decline, that after 70, weakness, forgetfulness, and fragile bones are just part of the deal. But what if that's not true? What if the foods you choose every single day have the power to either speed up this decline or completely transform how you age? The truth is, countless studies now confirm that nutrition is one of the most powerful weapons we have against aging, not just to protect your heart or your blood sugar, but to preserve your mind, your mobility, and your independence. Yet, there are 5 specific foods that stand out from all the others. 5 foods that consistently show up in the diets of the healthiest, sharpest people over 70. But here's the surprising part. Most seniors skip at least 2 of these every single day. They simply don't know what's missing. And slowly, their bodies begin to show the signs: stiff joints, failing memory, brittle bones, restless sleep. Today, you're going to discover exactly what these 5 foods are. Backed by real science and inspired by patterns observed in the world's longest living populations, you'll understand why adding them to your plate daily could be the difference between thriving or just surviving in your 70s and beyond. By the end of this video, you'll know how to fight back against fatigue, protect your brain, and nourish your body the way nature intended, with simple, powerful foods you can find in any local store. But don't just watch passively. I want you to feel the difference these changes can make in your life. Imagine waking up with more energy, sharper focus, and the confidence that your body is still on your side, even at 75, 80, or 85. If you're ready to take control of your aging and discover the 5 daily foods that truly keep you young after 70, comment number 1 below right now, because what you're about to learn could change the way you age forever. One of the most overlooked but powerful weapons against aging is something so simple, so sweet, that most people fail to recognize its true strength. The humble berry. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries may be the closest thing we have to brain food, especially after 70. Richard Miller knows this well. Every morning before the sun is fully up, Richard starts his day with a bowl of Greek yogurt topped generously with a mix of fresh blueberries and blackberries. It's not about taste alone, though he enjoys every bite. For Richard, it's a ritual of protection. Years ago, he read the findings of a Harvard study that tracked over 16,000 women for more than 2 decades. The results were startling. Those who consumed berries at least twice a week delayed cognitive aging by up to 2.5 years. That number stuck with Richard, not just because it was impressive, but because he watched his own father struggle with memory loss in his final years. Richard decided he wouldn't follow the same path, and so he built the habit. Small, simple, but consistent. Meanwhile, across town, Thomas Harris sits down to a very different breakfast. Most days it's a cup of black coffee and a slice of white toast, sometimes slathered in margarine, sometimes plain. Fruit rarely appears on his plate. Thomas never cared much for berries. Too expensive, he shrugs. And what difference would a few berries make anyway? The difference, though, is profound. Research from the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry reveals that the flavonoids found in berries reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in the brain, 2 of the main drivers of age-related memory loss and neurodegenerative diseases. Berries also promote neurogenesis, the creation of new neurons, even in aging brains. Over the years, the gap between Richard and Thomas has grown wider, not overnight, but quietly. Richard remains quick-witted, able to recall names, events, and details with ease. His conversations are lively, full of stories and humor. Thomas, on the other hand, often struggles to find the right words. There are moments of frustration, even fear, when his mind betrays him mid-sentence. And it all began with a choice repeated thousands of times to reach for something nourishing or not. For anyone watching, the message is clear. Adding a handful of berries to your daily diet is not just a treat. It's an act of preservation. A small, powerful step to shield your brain, protect your memories, and keep your mind as alive as your body. There's a silent epidemic slowly weakening the bodies of countless seniors. One that rarely gets the attention it deserves. It's not a virus or a disease, but a slow, creeping loss of bone strength and organ resilience. And the cause is as simple as what's missing on their plates. Leafy greens, spinach, kale, collards, Swiss chard. These are nature's multivitamins, packed with compounds the body desperately needs, especially after 70. Yet, for many, they remain absent, pushed aside by habits formed long ago. Richard Miller knows better. Years of research, reading, and listening to his doctor made one truth impossible to ignore. After 70, the risk of bone loss and organ decline increases dramatically. That's why, most nights, his dinner plate is a sea of deep greens. Lightly, sautéed spinach with garlic, a side of kale salad, sometimes even blended into a morning smoothie. Not because he loves the taste, though he's grown to, but because he understands what's at stake. You see, leafy greens are rich in vitamin K, a nutrient critical for bone health. Studies from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition show that higher vitamin K intake is directly linked to reduced risk of fractures. But that's not all. These greens also provide folate, magnesium, and antioxidants that protect the heart, support liver function, and aid digestion. Richard's bone density tests always surprise his doctor. Strong, steady, no signs of osteoporosis. He moves with confidence, climbs stairs without hesitation, and still carries heavy groceries. Without thinking twice, his organs, heart, liver, kidneys, function like those of a man decades younger. And then there's Thomas Harris. Leafy greens, they rarely cross his lips. Rabbit food, he calls them. Most meals are beige. Meat, potatoes, maybe. Here a canned vegetable drained of nutrients. Over the years, Thomas's bones have weakened. A simple fall last winter led to a fractured wrist, a slow, painful recovery that drained him further. His doctor warned him, the next fall could be worse. Hip fractures in particular can be devastating after 70, robbing a person not just of mobility, but of independence itself. Yet, Thomas resists. He doesn't see the connection between what's on his plate and the strength in his body. Science, however, is clear. Regular consumption of leafy greens helps maintain not just bones, but vital organs. It supports the systems that keep us alive and thriving long after most believe it's possible. For those watching, the choice is in your hands, or rather, on your fork. Will you feed your body the fuel it needs to stand tall, to stay strong, or will you ignore it until your bones remind you the hard way? There's a silent battle happening inside every aging body, a slow war against inflammation. It creeps into the joints, stiffens the arteries, clouds the mind. Most seniors feel its effects every morning, struggling to rise from bed, their movements slower, their hearts working harder with every step. But what if the answer to this battle was not in another pill, but on your dinner plate? Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel are among the most powerful anti-inflammatory foods known to science, packed with omega-3 fatty acids that protect both the heart and the joints from the relentless march of time. Richard Miller took this lesson to heart years ago. It started with a simple blood test. His doctor warned him that his cholesterol was creeping up, and his joints were showing early signs of wear. Instead of resigning himself to medication, Richard made a choice. Twice a week he began preparing wild-caught salmon, often baking it gently with lemon and herbs. On other days, a small can of sardines found its way into his lunch, rich in calcium and omega-3s. The results? Remarkable. His cholesterol levels stabilized. His heart, once a concern, became a source of pride during checkups. And those stiff knees that once protested on cold mornings? They loosened, eased by the steady, quiet work of omega-3s reducing inflammation from within. Thomas Harris, meanwhile, could never stomach the taste of fish. "Too fishy," he'd joke, pushing his Edin plate away whenever his wife tried. Instead, his meals became heavier. Red meats, processed foods, fried chicken, tastes he'd known his whole life, but choices that slowly turned against him. Over the years, the difference became painfully clear. Thomas's hands, once strong, now ache with arthritis. His walks grew shorter, not by choice but by necessity. Each step a reminder of joints worn thin, inflammation burning quietly beneath the skin. Science stands firmly on Richard's side. Studies published in the Journal of the American Heart Association confirm that regular consumption of omega-3-rich fish reduces the risk of heart disease, lowers triglycerides, and protects joint health, extending not just lifespan, but health span. For anyone watching, this is the fork in the road. A simple decision, repeated weekly, that shapes the way you move, breathe, and live. There's something deeply humbling about nature's design, how some of the smallest foods carry within them the power to shape life itself. Nuts and seeds may seem like humble snacks, but inside each one lies a storehouse of nutrients designed to fuel, protect, and heal the human body, especially as the years advance. For Richard Miller, this was one of the earliest lessons he took to heart. During a trip years ago, he stumbled upon a study about the world's blue zones, regions where people regularly live past 100. A common thread? Daily consumption of nuts and seeds. The simplicity struck him. No fancy supplements, no expensive health trends, just a handful of almonds, walnuts, or chia seeds added to their day. Since then, Richard keeps a small jar of mixed nuts on his kitchen counter. Almonds for vitamin E, walnuts rich in omega-3s, pumpkin seeds loaded with magnesium and zinc. Every afternoon, he reaches for a small handful, not out of hunger, but as a daily act of self-care. It's a habit so small it's easy to overlook, but one that has paid him back in ways that go far beyond the surface. You see, nuts and seeds are nutritional powerhouses. They're packed with healthy fats that protect the heart, fiber that stabilizes blood sugar, and vital minerals that strengthen bones and support muscle function. According to research published in BMC Medicine, daily nut consumption is linked to a significant reduction in the risk of heart disease, cancer, and even premature death. Thomas Harris never paid much attention to nuts. To him, they were nothing more than salty bar snacks, something to avoid because of the salt or the calories. "They'll just make me gain weight," he'd scoff, pushing them aside. What Thomas didn't understand is that the right fats, the ones found in raw or lightly roasted nuts and seeds, are exactly what his aging body craved. As the years wore on, the difference became impossible to ignore. Richard maintained a steady weight, his energy levels consistent, his skin and eyes clear with health. Thomas, however, grew heavier. His blood sugar climbed, eventually leading to type 2 diabetes, a slow, creeping condition that robbed him of energy and left him vulnerable to infections and fatigue. Doctors tried to explain. It wasn't fat that was the enemy. It was the wrong kind of fat, the processed oils and empty calories. Nuts and seeds, on the other hand, were allies, delivering the exact nutrients aging bodies need to thrive. For those watching, this is your reminder. Longevity isn't built in grand gestures, but in quiet, daily choices. And sometimes it's as simple as what fits in the palm of your hand. There's a hidden world inside each of us. Trillions of microscopic organisms working silently, shaping our health in ways we're only beginning to understand. The gut. It's where 70% of the immune system lives, where nutrients are absorbed, where even mood and memory are influenced. Yet for most people, especially after 70, this invisible ecosystem is slowly falling apart. Fermented foods. Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi are among the most ancient and powerful tools we have to heal and protect the gut. They are the forgotten foods of longevity, pushed aside in modern diets, but essential for anyone who hopes to stay strong, sharp, and resilient in the face of aging. Richard Miller never saw himself as someone who'd care about gut health, but that changed when a persistent digestive issue sent him to a specialist. The diagnosis was simple. His gut microbiome was out of balance. Years of antibiotics, processed foods, and aging itself had stripped away the good bacteria his body depended on. That's when Richard made the shift. He introduced plain Greek yogurt into his mornings, added a spoonful of sauerkraut to his lunches, and occasionally drank kefir in the evening. It was a quiet transformation, but one that changed everything. Within months, his digestion improved. Bloating, once a common annoyance, faded. He felt lighter, more energized, his immune system stronger. Richard rarely caught the seasonal colds that plagued others his age. His doctor even noted improvements in his blood work. Markers of inflammation reduced, gut health restored. Thomas Harris, on the other hand, never gave his gut a second thought. Yogurt, to him, was a woman's food. Fermented vegetables? Too sour. He stuck to what he knew: white bread, processed cheese, sugary cereals. Slowly, his gut weakened. He began to experience frequent indigestion, his sleep disrupted by discomfort and acid reflux. More troubling, his immune system faltered. Small colds lingered for weeks. Infections took longer to heal. Fatigue became his daily companion. Scientists now know why. The gut isn't just about digestion. It's the foundation of immunity, inflammation control, and even mental clarity. A study in Nature Reviews Immunology revealed that aging naturally weakens the gut barrier and diversity of gut bacteria, leading to increased susceptibility to disease. But fermented foods can help restore that balance, acting as a natural shield from within. For those listening, the lesson is simple but profound. Ignoring your gut is like turning your back on the very system designed to protect you. Nourishing it is not optional. It's survival. It's a sobering truth. The way we age is not written in stone. It is shaped every single day by the quiet decisions we make. And nowhere is this more evident than in the lives of Richard Miller and Thomas Harris, two men born in the same town, separated not by fate, but by the choices they made at the table. Where one saw food as fuel, as protection, the other saw only habit and convenience. And slowly, year after year, the gap between them widened, until one could still walk tall, think clearly, and embrace each morning with energy, while the other watched his world shrink, his body betray him, his mind grow dim. Science has been trying to tell us this for decades. The foods we choose, especially after 70, are not just calories. They are signals, messages sent deep into our cells, our bones, our brains. They dictate whether inflammation grows or fades, whether our hearts stay strong or falter, whether our memories sharpen or slip away. And the foods that matter most are not exotic or out of reach. They are simple, familiar, often forgotten. Berries that shield the mind, greens that strengthen bones, fish that protect the heart, nuts and seeds that sustain life, fermented foods that guard the very core of our health. For Richard, these foods became his quiet rebellion against time, not with grand gestures, but with consistency. A bowl of berries, a handful of nuts, a serving of fish. Choices so simple they're easy to overlook, yet powerful enough to reshape the course of aging itself. Thomas, he never made that shift. Not because he couldn't, but because he didn't know. He didn't see the cost of skipping these small acts of care. And now, the price is heavy. But for those of you listening, it's not too late. Every meal is a chance to choose which path you will follow. Every bite is a step toward strength or decline. You can wake tomorrow with a new perspective, knowing that your future is not defined by your age, but by the actions you take starting today. If you feel that shift, if something deep inside you is ready to take control, to fight back against the slow erosion of age, then this is your moment. Comment below if you're ready to choose life, strength, and clarity. Share your thoughts, share your story. Because the way we age is not a secret, it's a choice. And if you found value here, if you believe others need to hear this too, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notifications. Together, let's build a community where aging is not something we fear, but something we master. The best years are still ahead, if you choose them.